തലമണ്ട പുകയുന്നു തരാരാരാരാരാരാ എന്നിട്ടും പാടും നിന്റെ റെയില് വണ്ടി ദൂരെ ദൂരേക്ക് പോകും നിന്റെ റെയില് വണ്ടി തല രണ്ടായി പിളരുന്നു വെയിൽ നാദം മുഴങ്ങുന്നു എന്നിട്ടും പായും നിന്റെ റെയില് വണ്ടി ദൂരെ ദൂരേക്ക് പോകും നിന്റെ റെയില് വണ്ടി.
Namaste, welcome to Transaka.in. After a very long day, we were shooting Muthappan Theyyam at a village called Platra in Kannur district. I was so fortunate to have my friend Noble Peter with me, who is also a research scholar in cinema, especially is handling with film music, because we are being associates for quite a long time. I think it's been 6 years since he was the music director for all my work. I am so fortunate to have his music on all my further works as well.
Thank you.
So
it's also my privilege too.
Coming to our current work, The Mystic Heights, I think it is quite different from the previous works we have done. Related to the context of music. The past works are mostly purely fiction and mostly dealing with fantasy and dreams and kind of things, as you know. What do you find as a difference as a Shamin B. Nair work or a Shamin B. Nair film in case of Mystic Heights?
My work with Shamin, it's not a so-called director music director combination. It's about
celebration of friendship.
Of course, celebration of friendship. The process is easy. Our work culture is quite comfortable.
The one good thing is that we still maintain a good professionalism in our works. We are friendly professionals. I think that's the best. Best.
We coming to the point of Mystic Height. It's very different work from our earlier works because it's not fiction, but also fiction.
It has
content,
fiction as well.
Fiction content. But the overall narrative is different from our previous work. Our recent collaboration is
Awake in
the Dreams. So I used a lot of dramatic music, expression of the mother in that film. I used haunting type of music because I used violin and cello. So I want to express the inner meaning or the inner emotion of a woman or a mother.
It's being worked by foreigners, so the Western tint of music, it was suiting it very well.
Of course,
I think you are very much into the ethnographic concept of using instruments. So can you narrate a bit about that? How significant is the usage of ethnography and indigenous musical instruments as a part of a cinematic narrative?
Every emotion has its own flavor of musical instrumental pattern or musical instrumental language. When we are sad, we just close our eyes. We can hear the infinite music of a violin piece or solo, pathos of a flute beat.
I think it's never rediscovering or identifying the music within.
You can feel the flavor of instrumentation coming from
within.
The emotion. Every emotion has its own musical interpretation or musical instrument to picturize the emotion with a particular instrument.
I think I should narrate a bit about how I am handling the plot for this Mystic Heights. We are intertwining two different themes together. According to mythology, it goes together. But I don't think it's being performed together anyway. So the mythology of Karinjamundi, I think in a way, it's closely somewhere connected to the mother and awake dreams.
Of course. I just felt that. Because
the losing of child is always there.
So there is a drama.
There is a drama. We didn't write the script actually. The story is coming to us, and it has the connection with the past and the earlier works of ours, and but it's in a very different landscape. That was happening somewhere in the West, and we are now depicting the pain of a mother in the East. You know,
I think it's a coincidence.
so it's a coincidence. So,
Or if in the hand of God, I believe that's
it's a heavenly happening.
Yeah.
I believe. Bringing into the craft of cinema into the craft of Theyyam, we are blending it together. So we are using a hyperlink kind of narrative.
Yeah.
So we have the happening of Pottan Theyyam, and parallelly we are having Karinchalamudi. So, but initially both these Theyyams narrated two different stories, you know. So Potentame is more related to the untouchability and the resistance, the ballad of resistance, we could say. And there we are experiencing something like, you know, the vigor of vigor for blood and everything. It's in a way, it is a challenge and it's an opportunity for you. How do you think you can handle both this while hyperlink, while coming together? How do you think you can handle these different kinds of music? I mean, to convey these two different emotions, two different ideas. You know?
The main difference between a so-called documentary and a Shaminbina documentary, in my personal experience, there's a difference. Of course, with the craft of this guy, I can feel the difference in his script, in his narration, in his cinematography, the editing. Everything is different because I believe he want to tell something else within the image. So
I think it's more about the emotions and what is deep within. That's why I know I usually get very related to Noble because you're able to identify the music within, and that's what I want.
Every time I composing for a particular film or a particular image, I want to picturize my emotion or my soul to give the life of that particular image. That I think the main challenge in Mystic Height is there is a huge amount of life. There is a story, there is losing, there is hope, there is prayer,
resistance,
there is prayer.
It's a spiritual journey.
Of course. That's a correct word. A spiritual journey into a deep-hearted. It's a kind of metaphorical thing.
Exactly.
I just going to a journey. I want to explore something. I want to learn something.
Music is already, it's very transcendental.
Yeah.
You know, we are making the images transcendental, but music is already transcendental.
Yeah.
And what I believe is it's filmmaking, I relate it with Zen process, and but you know, coming to a biblical thing, it's like God created Adam in his form, and later he gave breath to him, his own life breath to him. Filmmaking is like making a body and music, giving music gives the birth to it. So the both body and breath is equally important. But you know, but it's a very it encapsulates the emotions and
it's a unique feel to give a birth to a particular.
We were fortunate to have a discussion with Theyyam people today. Do you think you can effectively handle this music with the instruments that the Theyyam, indigenous Theyyam people use for the performance, or do you think that you need some other instruments to make it more real or more cinematic?
Here is a huge challenge because Theyyam, the particular Theyyam is using percussion instrument. It's called chenda. It's a in our culture it's called asuravati. That's only using in Theyyam or Kathakali. That's kind of art form. The pattern of this kind of instrumentation is there is huge waves. Starting with slowly and it is coming to the peak level, and we can feel the our heart is beating like that. Slowly starting, and we can get something with that music.
The progression.
So our mind traveling with that music. There is happening in a spiritual experience. With that music, we want to find our egos, our jealous, our sins, and to give up that. That is the main point. So I want to give that experience with that image. So I want to create a experience or create a mood for the audience What it's you must find your soul. It's a very challenge because the instrumentation is minimal. So only
the choice of
instruments
instruments
is minimal because the am using only percussion, but I can't use only percussion for the creation.
exactly. Cinema is not something real.
Yeah, of course.
It's
we living in a virtual world.
No, we are living in a virtual, but cinema has an ability to recreate something real than the real.
Yeah.
It is not the recreation of the real, but it recreates, or it transcends the feel of reality to the audience. Reality is still there, but it's a cinematic reality. But it can become, it can transcend the emotion, which is more real than the real experience. That's how I think we can reconnect this concepts of deeper reality and deeper consciousness experience to art form like cinema.
So we just I can only use the percussion instruments. The main point is create an atmosphere to the audience.
I think
what is happening in that
exactly image? I think an art form like Theyyam is closely associated with nature, and it's a the mythologies and everything is like it's like exhibiting or executing a connection with nature. I think in a way it is like even the music pattern is like identifying the rhythm of nature. Do you find something like that?
Sitting in a huge landscape, we can feel our heartbeat, or we can listen our heartbeat. So what happening around us? Just the wind, with the ambience of nature. So we just sitting in peace. That's the point. I want to create that feel. You watching in that particular image. I want to create an atmosphere.
I think it's more than a physical ambience. It's an emotional
ambience. So that's the point. Emotional ambience. Find your soul. Find your goal, and tell to the God what happening in me.
Regarding Pottan Theyyam, Pottan Theyyam has it's a huge philosophical thing. That's why I'm into it. It conveys the message of Advaita, and you leave off your ego, and that's your way to enlightenment.
That's a great point.
And I think there is a huge chance for you to explore the music of the bliss and enlightenment. And
maybe I can kill my ego.
Exactly.
Very excited about work because it's not only to do a work. I want to explore my what is within me, or what else I can find in myself.
So that's how I think in filmmaking and all art becomes a meditative process. I think even music is a kind of meditative.
I think it's not a job. It's a life.
It's life.
Filmmaking is life. I believe that.
Being an academic or we teach, I always used to quote a saying, cinema is love 24 frames per second to all my students. I think when our team work together, it's not just you or me. When we work together with Smiran, Jibin, and everyone, we identify ourselves, and in the process we establish a spiritual connection, and there is no sort of this ego or something. When Smiran is the director, I become the associate, or when I direct something, he is an associate.
Our hard work is for
better cinema
or better experience. That's the main thing. So that's why there is no ego.
Exactly. And that's how I think we are being able to make a good film. But this is an advice to all the young filmmakers, or being teachers. We could advise, to all the students. We could say the better way to make films is like working together and sharing love. And filmmaking is a great process where you can eradicate your ego. It's like a meditation. You identify yourself through all your works.
Of course, Aristotle told art is imitation of life.
So I think we had a very great time together, and I thank Noble for being with me. Not just for this work, being as a good friend of mine or throughout my life, or right from the moment we met.
Of course.
And I thank you very much.
Thank you.